The mental health of Mica Miller has always been the centerpiece of this story, and with her husband, Pastor John Paul Miller, since they got married back in December of 2017. Remember, according to police, Mica Miller took her own life on April 27th, 2024. And since that day, John Paul Miller, her husband, has maintained that Mica is no longer with us because of her mental health.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
But since
Dawn, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
Her death, there have been more questions than answers when it comes to Mica's mental stability. Dozens of videos, hundreds of pictures, and plenty of statements from friends and family who dispute that Mica was mentally unwell.
Like the first time he put Mica in the hospital, our family was like, this is like not like her. She's not mentally unstable. She's perfectly fine. She's healthy. She was 23, 24, 25, one of those three, when she's supposedly having a bipolar episode for the first time, which none of us had seen signs for before.
And let's be honest, John Paul Miller has not presented any physical evidence that his wife was mentally sick. Other than his word, there's been no medical records, no doctor's notes, nothing provided by John Paul Miller. Until now. I've obtained photographic evidence of Mica Miller's prescription bottles, provided to me by John Paul Miller himself. We'll dive deeper into those bottles in just a moment. But first, how did we get to this point? And when did Mica's mental health begin to collapse? Well, we now know. December 2017, the month and year that Mica and John Paul Miller get married. Not once, but twice. The first wedding was private, and only a few people attended, and it came in early December of 2017, just a few days before Mica was set to have breast augmentation surgery. According to multiple witnesses, John Paul and Mica told them that they wanted to get married before her surgery, so they wouldn't be living in sin, and John Paul could take care of her. And then days after that wedding, Mica followed through with the surgery. But remember, Mica's family says that she was forced to have the surgery.
I just believe he really compressed her. I really believe that he just sucked the life right out of her and caused her to go downhill from the moment after they got married, the moment after he forced her to have a certain surgery.
And it's this
Asher, yeah, I saw that. I saw that we were talking about that earlier.
moment, this surgery that is key to Mica Miller's mental health. Because days after the surgery, Mica was admitted into a mental health facility. Not long after leaving the facility, Mica and John Paul Miller have another wedding, this time the ceremonial one, on New Year's Eve 2017. 2 weddings, 1 surgery, and 1 alleged mental breakdown. That's how the marriage of John Paul Miller and Mica gets started. But what happened? Why was Mica all of a sudden mentally unstable? According to multiple sources, Mica wasn't mentally sick. She simply had a reaction to anesthesia. And what type of reaction was that? Hallucinations. If you're not familiar, hallucinating from anesthesia is actually pretty common. My grandfather did it every time he had some sort of procedure. And I've spoken with several medical professionals who say that they see this happen all the time also. It is very, very common. And according to friends and family, Mica told them that she was hallucinating because of the anesthesia.
From the moment after they got married, the moment after he forced her to have a certain surgery, and she had a violent reaction from the anesthesia.
And according to those same friends and family, they say John Paul Miller allegedly used this opportunity to gain control over his wife. But of course, those...
Whoa. Angie, thanks, Don. Thank you.
Friends and family have a biased stance on things. They're angry. They believe John Paul.
JBS, it was a augmentation of the region, because you can't say anything on these platforms anymore.
Paul is responsible for Mica's death. So I decided to ask John Paul Miller himself. I didn't expect a response, but boy, did I get one. This is a direct quote from John Paul Miller. She woke up from anesthesia and was talking 3 different languages. He went on to say,
What?
You what?
bipolar symptoms were always there, but her family doesn't believe in medical mental doctors, so she was never diagnosed. But the schizophrenia and the bipolar 1 and 2 diagnosis and all of the other diagnoses started that day. He also said, and from that day forward, the doctors scared the hell out of me, telling me that she had to take her meds every single day or horrible things would happen. Now, remember the pictures of Mica's prescription pills that I obtained directly from John Paul Miller. Well, let's take a look at them. There's one thing that's interesting about the pictures. One of the bottles is double labeled. I've asked multiple experts in the field, and they say that this is a major red flag, that no pharmacist would sign off on putting 2 labels on one bottle.
Yeah, they don't do that.
You'll also notice that the bottles are angled in such a way where you can't see the right side of the label. I've asked John Paul Miller for pictures of that side, and he denied my request. Remember, John Paul Miller claims that Mica took her.
Plus, people can get prescribed things that they don't need. You know what I mean? You can go in and be like, I see orange teddy bears every day. And they'll be like, you need some of this.
Life because she
Doesn't mean you need it or that you have to take it. I had surgery on my knee when I was like 13 or 14, something like that. And they gave me pills to take. And I was like, hell no, I ain't taking your pills. Ah! That shit hurt. I should have. I was taking Advil. I was taking Advils, being like, I ain't taking that shit. I ain't trying to get hooked on them.
she was not on her medication.
Ridiculous. I'm going to keep going, y'all. I'm feeling weird tonight. It's because I had this strawberry Dr. Pepper. It's got me feeling crazy as hell.
And he blames Mica's family for this. John Paul claims that Mica was dangerous if she wasn't on the medication. And listen to this phone call that he had last week with a fellow influencer on TikTok.
I never once abused her. I spent 7 years trying to make sure she took her medicine every single day. She never had to work, never had to cook, never had to clean. I took care of her in every way possible.
That's good.
And it was only when she came off her meds that her family would convince her that I was abusive by wanting her to take medicine. And the only reason I wanted her to take medicine is because her doctor said if I didn't do it, she could kill me or kill somebody else.
So now we have to ask this. If Mica was so dangerous that she could possibly murder people, why was she in charge of the youth program at Solid Rock Church? Why was she the face of the church, standing on stage on a weekly basis? Why was she constantly featured on videos on their social media sites? And why was Mica put in charge of starting a school in Africa?
She said she wanted to start a school, a Faith First Academy in Africa. And I said, Mica, you can't do that. I said, that's not possible. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the teachers, the curriculum, the location, the place. We don't have it all. About a month later, she brought me a notebook. She had the teachers, the location. She even had the lunch lady, someone who was going to bring these children food. And she brought me everything we needed. And she got it down to about $500 a child per year. And then I'm the good guy that's good with financial stuff. And so I was able to get it down to $300 for a year for a child to go to school there. And that includes the food that they get each day.
Isn't he being investigated for fraud, like financial fraud? Did I make that up? I swear I heard that. Is that real? But he's the money guy? I'm good with money, but I'm getting investigated for financial maybe not. I don't remember. I thought I heard that though. Like the church is, right? Isn't that real? I can't remember. Let's keep going, shall we?
And so we sent a team at the beginning of this year, and we were.
And usually the people that like boast about what they can do are horrible at it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a musician, but you're never going to hear me be like, I'm the best musician. That's why the people come to me. They want a good guitar lick. I'll give them a good. No. The best musicians, they just play music. And you're like, damn, that dude's good as hell. You never hear him talk about it. The people who are like really good at something, like actually good at it, they don't brag about it. They just they let you see what it is. Mm-hmm.
Expecting about 75, maybe 80 kids. The first day we had 150. By the end of the week, we had 300. And now we have about 350 children begging and pleading for us to start our school back in August of this year.
And then John Paul Miller said something interesting to me that suggests that he does not have the medical records to back up his claims. I asked him more details about December 2017, and this is what he said. To be very honest, I gotta wait until the medical records come in to see the details. It was all a blur. To me, that statement alone suggests that John Paul allegedly doesn't have medical documents proving that Mica was mentally unstable. And it seems odd that a doctor would diagnose those symptoms just moments after waking up from anesthesia.
It was so bad.
Na ilikuwa ni vibaya sana.
I tried to myself.
Nikajaribu hata nijiue, jitoe uhai.
I put a gun in my head.
Ya kwamba nikachukua bunduki nikaiweka kwenye kichwa changu.
And I pulled the trigger.
Nami nikaanza kubonyeza ili ya kwamba nijiue.
And the bullet got caught.
Lakini ya kwamba hiyo bunduki, risasi ikashikwa kwenye bunduki.
You know what's weird? Look at what she's doing, but it's the opposite of what actually happened. So she's literally talking about doing that. I'm trying to say trying to be careful with how you say things on these damn platforms where they're like, you can say what you want. Just kidding. But look at, like, that's literally backwards from what was in the medical exam. Because that's her left hand. Right there. Right hand holding the mic, left hand. When she's supposedly remembering what she did or tried to do.
And that was God.
This is the only clip and evidence that Mica struggled mentally. But there's substantially more clips and evidence that it was John Paul Miller who struggled.
For the past 4 weeks, I've had the most horrible battle and horrible time of my entire life. I've never, ever, 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 not even close, been through what I'm going through right now in life. Not even close. Horrible. I mean, horrible.
Welcome to life, bro.
So bad. I'm seeing a psychiatrist every week. I'm on 900.
Everybody's going through stuff like that right now. Don, thank you. It's called the 2020s. Remember how we used to read about the roaring 20s and how like the 1920s were freaking it was crazy as hell. Now we got the 2020s and we're like, oh God. Remember that movie with Adam Sandler where he hit the remote and it like fast forwarded? That's what we want to do through this whole decade. Can we just start the 2030s already? Lord have mercy.
Milligrams of lithium. I'm seeing a counselor every week. I'm going to inner healing. I'm going to deliverance 3 times a week with pastors in the area. I'm doing everything I can just to be able to get out of bed. I'm so depressed. I want to die. I'm battling suicidal thoughts. I have unforgiveness, hatred, demons coming out of me. Horrible.
JP. You all right, man?
Please don't play the whole video. Robbie Ari, please don't play the whole video, please. Please.
You okay?
Speaking of fast forwarding moments of my life.
He needs some milk.
Huh? You okay?
I'm not saying that they don't exist.
Oh, thank you, Robbie. Thank you. Praise the Lord. We'd have to listen to that whole video.
He needs some milk.
Other than the prescription bottles, I've seen no medical records proving that Mica Miller was mentally ill. And yes, Mica was admitted into a mental facility on multiple occasions, but according to Mica's family and Mica Miller herself, she was forced to do so. Remember, Mica's friends and family say that John Paul Miller used this opportunity to allegedly control his wife.